All right, we're here with musician, singer, triple threat, as he's called, Justin Morelli. Why don't you talk a little bit about what drew you to the entertainment industry and singing in particular? I know you're a native New Yorker,
Yes.
and so did living in New York and growing up in New York have a role in that, or was it a family dynamic that got you involved?
Well, it definitely wasn't a family dynamic. My family do not, none of my family members sing. My parents, my brother, nothing. My brother tried to sing, he probably break glass, but no, it was more a thing that I just grew up loving. And being a part of New York, obviously there's some really incredible talent that come out of New York in the first place. And I've always been a big music person since I was really young, listening to every type of music, not just pop R&B stuff, but everything from rock to alternative to anything. And rap. So it kind of just came gradually, and I had always been singing like casually since I was really young, and to girls I would date or to friends or to whoever, and it kind of just grew from there, and it was just something I couldn't live without.
And now, you did mention a long list of genres of music. Is there one that you were drawn to in particular? Is there one that you're more comfortable singing?
I was always R&B pop guy. I love mainstream music. I don't hide it. Some people are like, oh, I'm underground. My brother likes underground, but for me, I've always been mainstream, but with a hint of R&B. I grew up listening to Genuine and Boyz II Men and R. Kelly, and, the Ushers and the Justin Timberlakes and people like that. So it's always been that type of music for me that kind of was like, this is why I want to do this.
And speaking of some of those artists, you've co-written songs with people who have co-written with the artist you mentioned, Justin, one of them. What was that process like for you?
Man, it was incredible. And as a songwriter myself, it's a great learning experience too, when you get to work with guys that are that talented, and for me to be in the room and pick their brain at the same time. And I'm a historian and a studier at the same time, so everything that I do, I want to get better at every day. And working with them was a blessing, and we kind of had a similar vision because music-wise, they were very in tune with what I wanted to do. And it was pretty easy, and the chemistry was really good, and I'm still good friends with them today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, besides the writing part of it.
Now you have two videos out that I've seen. Ain't Easy, which is a video where you're texting your lyrics to a girl. How did that idea come about, to do the video specifically in that way?
Well, I discussed it with a few people, with some of my manager and a few other people, and we kind of thought it would be interesting to do something where it involves kind of a visual with another person that was a little different from what we had done before. So we decided, hey, let's do something where it involves me talking directly to the girl and things, because it's kind of a flirtatious song,
right?
Ain't Easy, and it's very conversational. So I thought it would be interesting to make it a conversation between me and someone else. And I was actually seeing a girl at this time when we made the video. We are separated now, but when we were, she was like, use my name in the video. I was like, okay. So I did.
And you've now edited and taken her name out.
No, I'll leave it in there. We'll leave it in there for good measure.
I just thought it was a really interesting video that I'd never seen presented in that way. And then with your other video, a little tongue-tied, Nobody Like Me, you went the traditional quote-unquote route where you were the, friend trying to help out another catch a girl, and you end up, playing your game and doing your swagger and doing your thing. What was that like, shooting a full-fledged video like that?
It was pretty incredible. It was my first video that I ever shot, so it was some things that I had to pick up on the fly and learn on the fly, never being in a situation with that many cameramen and equipment people and people telling me what to do, and this person saying this and that person saying that, and you got to kind of listen to certain things, block it out, and still do what I do, and that's perform and be a part of the scene. And it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing more videos in the future.
What was it like doing the video where you're on the street, and where you actually on the street and have to deal with noise and that kind of stuff? Did that affect you in any way? Did it break your concentration? It's got to be tough to try and film something where you're trying to remember your lyrics, while you're trying to remember your slick little moves that you're putting in, while you're trying to focus on this girl. You know, that had to be tricky.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it really wasn't that tricky, actually. The tricky parts were if we had to change location or change places because of a distraction or something we couldn't, people were like, you can't film on the street at this time or whatever happens, and we had to move it. But besides that, I kind of just go with the flow and enjoy it. So nothing's really pre-planned from what I was doing in the video. So it was really like, okay, we get in the moment. The chemistry I had with the girl Brittany, who was a really nice girl, and we got along really well. So really from that standpoint, it was pretty easy to kind of just vibe off her and have her vibe off me, and kind of just focus on the song and enjoy it, and try to present it to everybody.
Well, as a viewer of the video, you cannot tell that you changed locations. Like things that break up and make it look like you were totally taken out of the element of what you were going for.
Right.
So kudos to you for that.
Appreciate it.
You're going to put out an EP?
Yes.
And when does that hit?
I would say probably February.
Okay.
That's what we're kind of shooting for. We're getting a couple of the songs mixed right now. I have probably 8 to 10 songs that I have done that I'm pretty excited about putting out. Just a matter of whether I'm going to put it out as a full-fledged album or break them up and put an EP out first. Probably going to go with an EP first, considering we have 2 out already, and just add 3 or 4 to that, and just make it kind of an experience. And I think I have about 5 or 6 songs that are very much, I see a vision for them, for how I want to present them. So I think they would be a nice package together, and I think that's kind of the plan.
And how long have you been at this professionally? And what advice would you give to people who are just starting out? Because you're obviously a young man. It's not like you've been doing it for years.
Right. I mean, it's been about 4 to 5 years now that I've been doing it. And I would say just be patient. Be patient, but be aggressive at the same time. You're not going to get anywhere if you sit at home and you're ordering a pizza. You know what I mean? You have to, not only in training yourself to be as great as you could be as a singer, as a dancer, or playing instruments, or whatever it is that you do, but also building your brand. And nowadays the music industry's changed so much. It's not like it used to be 10 years ago. So you really have to go out and meet different people and network yourself and get yourself to be found, and get anyone you could possibly get to hear you has to hear you, because you never know who's going to be the person that hears you that's going to get into this person, or that this person knows this person, and you build your fan base that way, and you really have a chance to connect with as many people as possible. And I would say aggressive but patient at the same time.
What does it feel like for you performing live to people? What kind of energy does that give you? And in turn, do you feed off that energy to make your performance not necessarily better, but does it give you that shot in the arm where if you're not really feeling it that day, just seeing fan reaction? Does that give you the boost to kick it through?
Of course. I mean, I'm a human being like everyone else, and you have days where something might have happened where things weren't great, and then you have days where you feel incredible, and you just feed off yourself. But the fans are a huge part of what I do, and I feed off the fans all the time, and I gain energy from them, and they lift me up when I might be down, or even when I'm excited, they build me up even more. And I'm a very emotional, energetic person to begin with, so I feel like everything that I do has a high energy to it. So it definitely, I feed off of the people that are there. Anything that's around me is something that I feed off.
Do you feel it's easier in this day and age to get music out because of social media? And has that helped you build a fan base? Because you can put out your videos and say, hey, check this out, and get instant feedback. Where back even when somebody like Justin Timberlake was breaking out, they didn't have that. Like, you didn't get that immediate feedback, other than people camping out for you and stuff like that. But you can make a tweet and here's my latest video, check it out. Do you think that impacted you, and does that add an extra pressure to you to have to do it?
I don't think it adds more pressure, but it definitely is different now with how you get out there. It's easier to get your stuff out there, but it's harder to be noticed, I feel like, because there's more people doing it. The market's very oversaturated at this point. You know, there's
Right.
a lot of artists. Any artist now, whether you're signed to a label, whether you're independent, you know, like myself or whoever, you know, whether you just this is something you love to do, and you could put your stuff out there to the public, and that was never the case, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Mhm.
So now with that being the case, you are much more able to be seen by people, but at the same time, it's not like before where if someone saw you, and they liked you, boom, they want to take a chance on
Right.
you, and a label would want to, you know, pick you up and push you forward. Now it's like they want to see the finished product.
And now there's even tours specifically
Right.
with just people on YouTube.
Right.
That have
Or
come
Vine or,
from-
you know,
yeah,
or whatever.
Vine,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird, and it's kind of neat to see the way social media has played into it with kids like Shawn Mendes and you know, people like that. So for you to be doing it kind of both ways
Right.
is admirable.
I appreciate it. I mean, you gotta do whatever you can. You know what I mean? And social media that's the way the industry is right now. And it's a great way to connect with fans and get people to hear your music. So I think there's positives and negatives to it for sure.
Right, and I think that the positive is there's personal interaction
For sure.
with an artist
For
where
sure.
you didn't get that in years
Definitely.
past.
No doubt.
And you know, people who are very open to responding to people on social media, you know, really helps them grow a fan base,
Right.
which is good.
For sure.
So you've kind of given advice, peppered through the interview. Is there anything you would like to promote, or you know, your EP, like you said, is coming out in February? Do you have any shows coming up that you want to promote?
Well, shows are going to be stay tuned for that.
Okay.
I'm doing a bunch of open mics right now, just, you know, kind of getting people to hear me and getting myself out there. I've done a lot of radio promotion this year to different stations around the country, and
Mhm.
you know, just promoting my newest single "Ain't Easy" to the radio stations and getting, you know, all the DJs to hear it and seeing their response. But yeah, the EP is coming out in February, probably late January, February. My Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything will be posted up there. My Twitter is Justin Morelli, JustinMorelli, and then my Instagram is Real Justin Morelli. Fortunately, there was a Justin Morelli who had it prior to me,
Yeah.
who I'm gonna have to have a talk with at some point.
Yeah,
'Cause
especially if you
don't like
become
that.
more famous.
Yes, that's not something I don't, and he wouldn't even accept my following. I tried to follow him to try to, like, you know.
Really?
But yeah, it's tough.
Does he know you're Italian and you have connections? Well, I guess he's probably Italian too.
He might. He probably. I would guess.
Yeah.
I would guess.
You might want to tread lightly. With
Exactly.
your
I might
pushing
not want to push it
as
too
well.
much. I'll
Your
wait.
one
I'll wait
EP
till
might
later.
be the only one we see.
I'll wait till later on that.
Justin, I really appreciate you sitting down with me. It was great talking to you, and I look forward to hearing more from you and following your career as it just gets bigger and bigger, and hopefully we can sit down in the future.
That'd be great. I really appreciate it. Thanks
Very
for taking
cool.
the time.
Thanks, Justin.
Cool.